WoW's largest ever growth. Shadowlands release. Wow, holy shit, that's awesome.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Warcraft News. We've got a lot to talk about today with Blizzard's financials, lots going on in-game, and major updates to patch 8.3, plus a look into some of the possible release dates for World of Warcraft Shadowlands. First though, November is Pin Month on Patreon. In addition to our regularly scheduled Demon Hunter set, we are also doing our first ever pin. It's
Incredible.
A bunch of fun to create, and Patreon's a massive help for us, and you'll get great loot in return.
There it is.
Also directly help us bring on our new editor, and you'll see the boons of that very soon in our future content. But okay, with that covered, let's get into the news. So it's only a few quarters after the earnings call, the reported record
we watched this.
was followed up
Remember this
by
shit?
the dismissal of 800 Blizzard staff. The last 12 months certainly have been challenging for Blizzard, so
yeah,
all
to say
eyes
the
have
least.
been on their earnings report, especially this time post-Classic. And interestingly enough, they have reported a strong enough third quarter for 2019. In this period, the company has had 33 million monthly active users across its platform.
That's
Net
a lot.
revenues
Holy
of
shit.
394 million were reported, with
God
an
damn.
operating income of $74 million in Q3. Ultimately, reporting lower revenues than last year on the year-on-year basis, because of course the same period last year was the Battle for Azeroth launch, and well, that was pretty hard to beat. Now, the launch of Classic has been really held up as a driving force for their surge in user engagement, with it being, they said, the most significant quarterly subscription increase in the game's history. All of its history. Now, this could be seen as a sign of how strong the game currently is, or conversely.
Wait. Q3, World of Warcraft Classic drove the biggest quarterly increase to subscription plans in franchise history. Holy shit. Dude, I can't believe BFA is doing so well that it caused that to happen. Can you guys, like, that's insane, isn't it? Wow. That's crazy, man. Holy shit. Wow. BFA is doing so well.
The state of player engagement prior to Classic not really being great. Then another thing we've seen continue is them actually present Classic and Contemporary Warcraft as like the same community, and I think that's a pretty clear indication that Blizzard will be layering their content releases between the two different platforms going forward, and I suppose more on that when we talk about the Shadowlands release dates. Now, the Q&A section, that is traditionally used by investors to air their anxieties, and well, it had minimal mention of World of Warcraft, with Cody Johnson using the one question fielded about it pretty much as a chance to do a glorified victory lap. Now, in this, he said the player engagement is healthy going into Q4, and the Shadowlands has strong potential for player retention. Now, looking at the past numbers, what's interesting to me is that the previous largest quarterly jump ever was from the end of MOP to the launch of WoD, and that saw 2.6 million players return. So clearly, Classic's doing more than that. I don't think that it would be...
So it had over 2.6 million people. Holy shit, man. What the fuck? That is insane. That is fucking ridiculous, man. About the biggest drop? I don't think so.
Be absurd to say that it's 3 to 4 million more people, more subs. Now, not all of them will stay, of course, but still, we do know that WoW Classic Month 2, like the overall engagement there, is significantly higher than World of Warcraft's like overall engagement before Classic launched. So clearly, Classic has been an extremely additive thing to the World of Warcraft community. And speaking of that, well, Classic Phase 2 unlocks the week beginning the 12th of November. Outside the early release of Dire Maul, this will be the first content update for Classic. So what can we expect from Phase 2? Well, the PvP honor system launches. There was no barrier to PvP previously, but a substantive reward system, well, that's going to drive a lot more PvP on most servers. We're definitely going to see over the coming weeks.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a real shit show,
especially in Hillsbrad and the Barrens. And
I don't know how they're. Now, shit. Well, I don't know how they're going to be able to do this with like their servers. Their servers are so bad right now. I don't know how it's going to be possible for Blizzard to see Phase 2 happen on any of the larger servers at all. I don't think so in any way.
At BlizzCon, Ian recommended the players finish up whatever quests they've got.
It was like, no fucking way, man.
And, well, with our server of Shazrath, I'm expecting hundreds of players to be battling between Tarren Mill and South Shore in the coming days. This also will, of course, come with PvP rewards, but remember, you're not going to see Battlegrounds launch until Phase 3. Of course, that's not all. PvE players will get the world bosses Lord Kazak and Azuragos. Now, Blizzard actually previously stated that they would not launch any world bosses until layering would no longer be needed. Now, Blizzard will be able to synchronize the end of layering with the release of Phase 2, and I think that would all be pretty darn exciting. Okay, with that covered, let's hop over to contemporary World of Warcraft. So, World of Warcraft is 15 years old, and to celebrate, Blizz have brought a selection of thematic events and activities for players to participate in. So, when you log in, you're going to get the little Nefarian pet, and then you're also going to get a letter from Chromie that invites you to the special time-walking event in the Caverns of Time. Now,
what a disappointment this was. Like, what a disappointment this shit was. Like, I was so excited to do this event, and then it just turned out to be bullshit, man. It just turned out to be such fucking bullshit. Like, it was it's like the only thing that was hard about it was Defile. So it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna make you go through 2 other fights to randomly throw a mechanic at you that one-shots the entire raid from 10 years ago, and if you don't know how to deal with it exactly, everybody in the raid dies. It's like, that's so fucking dumb, man. Like, I'm sorry, it's so fucking dumb, especially in like an LFR environment. Like, I hate it whenever Blizzard does this. They add like one mechanic in there that, like, in a random grouping system, I don't think that there should be a fucking mechanic in there that one person can wipe the raid with. It just seems like it's too open for trolling and one person just ruining it for everybody else. The fucking 15-year anniversary thing, I was not a big fan of at all. And yeah, it was okay, but it could have just been so much better, man. It could have been so much fucking better.
Now, within the caverns, you find these chrono crystals, which just show you significant cinematics. So, yeah, I guess they threw that in for some reason, so you can watch the Wrathgate, but not on YouTube if you want to. Gameplay-wise, there's quite a bit, though, so we've got the variation of the old Altaric Valley. It's an homage to the original rather than being an accurate representation of it, so there are no reinforcements, there are no time limits, plus Korak the Blood Ranger is back. And, well, we've pretty much...
Is this a good thing? I never really did it seriously, and so I'm actually curious. No, it's good. Some people are saying it's good, it's horrible. I feel like it's probably going to be, like, really laggy or just, like, scuffed in some way or another. It's retail, so it's trash. Well, yeah, I know. Retail bad, classic good. Yeah, retail bad, classic good. Everybody knows that. But, you know, I'm excited to at least maybe do, like, 1 or 2 of them.
Have seen a return to very long battleground matches. Now, true to form, Korak has already received a 60% buff to his health in a recent hotfix, now spawning 2 minutes after the match has begun.
Damn.
With developers actually explaining this as something that basically offsets the alliance bias that's inherent in AV.
What do you,
now,
what?
There's also faction-specific mount rewards and return weapons, such as the Ice Barbed Spear, which are, you know, clear callbacks to the original AV rewards. So you can get all that stuff.
What's he talking about?
Overall, you just want to head there and complete the quests
I don't
from
understand.
your base, and that will get you most of it. Of course, that's not all, because we do have Memories of Azeroth, which is our new 3-wing time-walking raid. Now, each wing, one for the Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, and
Imagine fighting Nefarian and having the entire fucking fight be killing his ads in Phase 2. Who the fuck thought this was a good idea? Like, I genuinely don't even understand. Like, how the fuck could anybody just be like, oh yeah, we're gonna do Nefarian. Here's how it's supposed to work. You sit there and you kill the ads and then the fight's over. Oh, it's so dumb.
Cataclysm will include bosses idiomatic of not just those expansions, but also the design ethic of the time.
Yeah.
This can be incredibly cinematic, with Chromie fitting you in the wider context of each encounter, and it certainly does show how far Blizzard has come. And I feel sometimes a little bit intentionally with the way that they weave sort of modern systems.
Arcana, thanks for 5 gifted subs. I appreciate that, man.
Maybe new transitions or the sound files with old visuals and mechanics. I think it's the most notable in encounters like Archimonde, with his voice lines not aging super well and his mechanics feeling a little bit static.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Raiders who fought these bosses while they were relevant, well, they might enjoy this event less, because it's only certain phases of each encounter, and the transitions cut away from the fight with little notice. There are I mean, there are a few other questionable aspects here, such as it only being available through LFR. The generally chaotic nature of LFR means that bad positioning on, say, Lich King's Defile will just cascade into a wipe, and that will reset the entire raid back to the first boss,
that he brings up right here.
Which I don't think is massively fun. Now, of course, though, the Memories of Azeroth raid has eye level 420 loot rewards, so, and of course they can Titan Forge to be like heroic raid level gear, and that includes weapons, so people will do it. Now, with this event going on for 3 months, I think players are going to be getting a lot of that easy 420 loot, and I mean, it does jump you up a few steps in terms of item level progression, and it seems like it's an incentive to keep players on contemporary servers. Now, speaking of incentives, well, completing the old raids will give you the Obsidian World Breaker mount. I think a very fitting celebration for the 15th anniversary, but still, the ease of acquisition, I do think it kind of makes it feel like more of a participation trophy. That said, the anniversary event does have more reasons to stay logged in, with a potential 75 boost to rep acquisitions on the first weekend. So basically, it's World Quest week, so that's 50%. Then there's the anniversary buff, that's a 15% boost to both rep and experience gain, and that's active until January. Then add to that the carousel bonus from the Dark Moon Fair, and yeah, you could be getting a 75% rep bonus plus a 25% XP bonus. Great for leveling your alts, great for getting Pathfinder if you haven't really done that yet.
What the hell, dude? So I need to go do some World Quest, guys.
In December and in January,
this
so
is awesome.
Opportunities to really maximize
I'm so excited.
of those boosts. Then a few things to round out the anniversary event. Players can get the Spellstone Delight. Now this is pretty crazy. It's a purchasable item that gives you 100% move speed outside of instances for 30 seconds. And to be honest, it seems absurdly good. I'll be stocking up on like half a bank full of them, but it would be nice to get clarification from Blizz as to whether they will persist outside of the event. Then, oh yeah, the overtuned core.
Hopefully they won't.
They're back.
That way people will not have to stack them up.
Appeal to certain sections of the player base. Then next up, patch 8.3. This has been confirmed to be launching early 2020.
Oh, is that it?
And this will be over the consistent 3-month patch cycle they normally want, with Rise of Ashara then launching on the 25th of June, and 8.2.5 feeling very light content-wise. What, we're 7 months between significant content patches? Now, with the anniversary event ending in January, that would all hint at a post-Christmas launch. And it certainly seems like the 15th event is lasting for so long because it's the main thing that'll be holding the fort till the late release of 8.3. So, discounting a potential patch 8.3.5, we may be looking at least a further 7 months after 8.3 till Shadowlands' launch. And that's if it launches in August, which it really doesn't seem like it will. I mean, personally, I'm expecting September.
This is going to be like November, man.
Even November.
Yeah.
So with 8.3 being
that's what I think it's going to be.
I think it's going to be a pretty long wait for modern-only players, but if you're into Classic, then I think there'll probably be a lot to do as Blizzard roll out those phases. But overall, though, yeah, it seems like the mistakes of BFA knocked them back, and they just have to wait until the 8.3 reception comes in till they can make a lot of major decisions for Shadowlands. Anyway, with that covered, let's actually talk about 8.3. So the Dungeon Journal has been updated, and it now hosts details of the N'Zoth encounter. The most iconic set of fights begins with Il'gynoth, who has, well, I mean, he's encouraged so much lore speculation.
Il'gynoth Corruption Reborn.
So it's that through to the Carapace of N'Zoth, which is just a big
Carapace. I know what that is.
And it actually does have the potential to be a satisfying representation of an old god, like a literal mountain of void and flesh. Then finally,
we'll see how it goes.
The old god himself. Players will have a sanity bar for the fight, that will have cascading mechanics be worked into it. If a player goes insane, they're going to receive the gift of N'Zoth, again, I guess.
I'm sure that's going to be great.
Health and damage, but after 20 seconds, they will become a servant of N'Zoth for the remainder of the fight. So, not something you'd want. Then in phase 2 of the fight, players will have to fend off tentacle lads.
Probably not.
Then select champions will delve into the most subversive visions of N'Zoth. Now, this includes the corruption of Deathwing, so seeing him broken over Wyrmrest Temple, and also the treacherous bargain, which actually shows details of Ashara's pact with Sylvanas. So that all seems pretty cool. They're both significant visions for the lore fans. Now, players will be able to weaken N'Zoth's psyche from within those visions in a similar manner to the weaknesses induced through, say, invading Cthulhu's stomach or going through Yogg-Saron. It's pretty nice to see more old god visions. Of course, that is just like the brain visions that we saw with Yogg, so that's pretty cool. Now, the fight's climactic final phase will see N'Zoth warp reality to bring the Chamber of the Heart to him in an attempt to corrupt Azeroth's world soul. Now, this, if all done correctly, could be visually amazing, but
I'm just not that interested in what they're gonna do with N'Zoth. Like, after I saw the cinematic, like, I'll show you guys after this. Where's the N'Zoth ending? Well, let me see if I can show you guys this. afterwards. And this is why I lost interest in the N'Zoth thing.
I mean, based on that early leak of how the fight ends, it kind of does make me want to wait and see to actually, well, do the raid in one way.
He's not dead, though. Yeah, it's going to be a spoiler.
Then
You're
next
right.
up, we are getting a clearer picture of how corruption is going to work, and it does seem like Blizz is taking feedback from the community on board. So, first, we have seen corruption amounts on armor now become static, and that does, of course, lessen the RNG burden, and it does make the system a bit easier to navigate, so that's really good. Then the positive crit damage FX has been nerfed by around 50%.
That's probably a good thing.
Massive source of balance complaints, and it's good they've done that.
Yeah, I consider that as a very good thing.
We've seen new weapons on the PTR that have a guaranteed corruption level. Now, this means that to use these powerful weapons, you will have to deal with guaranteed tendrils and corrupted
deterministic stats.
That said, they will each have effects that will make them worth that corruption. Now, we've then also seen our first Ny'alotha Azerite trait, Heart of Darkness, which benefits, well, the benefits of which will only unlock after a certain threshold of corruption. Now, in line with all that stuff, the legendary cloak now has a corruption resistant stat. So at rank 1, it's +5. That means that if you've got 20 corruption, then your net corruption would be 15. So it seems like the goal here is to steadily increase player power by increasing the amount of corruption that they can remove through that resistance through their legendary cloak. Now, this essentially will act as a continual nerf to content, somewhat like how Titan Forging steadily increased player power over time, but I suppose in a bit more of a controlled fashion. Then next, let's talk about some new rewards. So, Mythic players will get the Awakened title for getting +10 in every dungeon.
This is, I'm so glad they're adding this in. I am so fucking glad they're adding this shit back into the game. This is so great.
Overall, it's great to see Mythic Plus get that type of reward, so really good move there. We then got a reskin Mists of Pandaria Collector's Edition mount with Pao Pi and Ren Stalwart Hound. We don't exactly know if these can fly yet, like the previous reskinned Quillen from the Island Expedition.
I would kind of assume.
So maybe they're trying to preserve a unique feature there for the collector's edition version of the mount, but anyway, there's that. The next Doomgorger Kralok in Vol'dun is going to drop the Brown Alpaca mount. Depending on the drop rate, though, that might be quite difficult in terms of its acquisition, as well, this boss is associated with
we need to do that 100%, man.
Quest, and therefore it's attached
we really need to do that.
Pretty long spawn cycle, so that one might actually be pretty darn hard to get your hands on. But anyway, that's us for the Warcraft news.
Kind of world boss mount? Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about that, man.
Talk about. It's definitely interesting seeing.
I guess I'll just farm it as much as I can.
It's obviously, you know, it's an interesting patch. There's a lot of content reuse. There's also a lot of smart ideas, and it's clear that Blizzard are testing quite a lot of stuff. So, I mean, man, yeah, it'll just be interesting. I'm really hoping that's early January and not like February in terms of the release date, because, I mean, if it's February, that would be a little bit scuffed, or, you know, February, March, something like that. But anyway, let me know what you think about the various different release dates like 483 and Shadowlands. I'd love to know how that fits into your schedule, just what you feel about the health of the game after all the information we've got recently. So let me know if you want to help us out and get some really cool pins. Check out the Patreon. And with that, thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you next time.
Here's why I'm not excited about N'Zoth, okay? Here's why I'm not. Watch this. Watch this shit. Spoiler warning. There's no sound. Enough. Your mind will be mine. I'll do them for you, okay? You gotta keep fighting, champion. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There he is. Yeah, there's no sound to this. And then he's like, okay, what are we gonna be able to do? Don't listen to his lies. Don't believe in him. You have to use the power of Azeroth to save yourself. You can defeat the old god all by yourself, random idiot in Emerald Nightmare Paladin gear. Let's open up this random portal and shoot this beam at the boss that for some reason we decided not to use for the entire duration of the existence of Azeroth, even though it could have removed him. And here we go. We're channeling all of our powers into you. You are the hero of the Horde, the hero of the Alliance, and the hero of Azeroth. You're the best player ever. Use your Kamehameha onto N'Zoth and destroy him, because the entire game revolves around you now, rather than the story in the world, because it's no longer an MMO. Woo! Wow! That's such a good game, dude. Oh man, I can't wait for it. God, that's gonna be awesome. Dude, is anybody else excited, dude? Is anybody else excited about that? That's so cool, man. That's so cool they're doing that. It's actually going to happen. I'm pretty disappointed, not going to lie. When Warcraft goes anime, Dragon Soul 2.0, yeah, except for this time you're Thrall. Kamehameha. Why'd you hype N'Zoth for so many years just to kill him in a patch? This reminds me so much of Thrall versus Deathwing. Yeah, I wonder why. AP bar reset for 9.0. I mean, I'm sorry, guys. This is just too fucking much, man. Like, it really is just too fucking much. As much as I would... I'm okay with this to an extent, right? This is too much. So we become Thrall. Yeah, players hated Thrall so much that they decided to make Thrall the player. There it is. Looks like Cataclysm finale. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just... Maybe this is just like me, but whenever I see that cinematic, it does not fill me with a huge amount of confidence. Okay, let me just say, it does not fill me with a lot of confidence. N'Zoth knew about Sylvanas. I don't know about N'Zoth knowing about Sylvanas. Sylvanas, see, here's the thing. Sylvanas is so smart that she's even tricked the writers into writing plot holes about her that don't make sense. Because she's that smart.